Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave and a happy little Sunday morning. I'm wishing to everyone out there in cryptocurrency land, the land that never sleeps except when you get price action like this. But with the overnight action, we do have a few new things kind of coming to the market. So we can talk about them. And I always want to remind everyone with this series that we're currently doing right here, this is more short-term thinking, more short-term trading styles. So if you want more long-term analysis, well, definitely go check out the long-term analysis playlist because, well, that is what it's for. Anyways, over here into good old Bitcoin over here, starting with the daily. Always want to mark off the big areas. The big areas being the 6150 support right around here. As long as you're above there, I think Bitcoin is safe from playing out any sort of like devastatingly downside. Like those numbers that you hear like 4,000, 3,000. As long as you're above that 6,100 level, 6,150, I do believe that. Well, there's always a possibility that Bitcoin does just go sideways here for the next like year or year and a half and then picks it up. Always possible for sure, but until we actually see the timeline actually play out, we won't know. However, we are getting damn full in this very small descending triangle right here, testing it once again in the early evening hours or late morning hours, or sorry, early morning hours as well. Right around here, 6,750, nice little test and wicking down off it, selling down off it initially, but just kind of filling out the range, even more so being held by the green 55 exponential and closing a couple of dildos above this this yellow 21 exponential, which is a small chain behavior, but I don't really want to be focusing on something like that when I think it's very clear that Bitcoin is consolidating right here, and so the big move is yet to come. We have still the 6550 support. And funnily enough, even with that nice big action last night, the same resistance still applies. 6650 right here. You can see that the dildo bodies are still being held by this guy right here. So again, the AIDS tier price action continues. Sorry. I apologize about that one. That was in bad taste. I thought. God damn it, Krown. Just stop digging yourself into a bigger hole. Jesus Christ. You know what I mean. Anyways, okay, so 6,650 next big resistance, but still being held by it. Does look like Bitcoin kind of wants to test it again, though, flagging out. So we did talk about this flag yesterday, and let's see if the measure move actually played out. So you had a nice little flag pull right there, and then you consolidated right here. So I'm just kind of eyeballing this one, but pretty damn close enough, at least for me, at around 6720-ish area. So yeah, it ain't perfect, but hey, if you played that, well, congratulations to you. I did not have the balls play that because, well, I really don't want to be taking a directional position as long as we're within this smaller descending triangle over here. Of course, this up resistance right here is your next big resistance if 6650 were to break. Right around here, we'll call it. Yeah, I like how it also aligns up with this horizontal right here. Good historical relevancy of this horizontal as well. Yeah, beautiful from that past 6750 resistance. If we were to break 65 support, which is still the current, big support, then 6450 is your next big support. If 6450 breaks, then your next big support is right around here, right around 63, 69, or wherever like price action kind of coincides, because we still do have this as well. We still have this guy coming in right around here. Potential brawny wedge bear flag, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I mean, technically speaking, it is a brawny wedge because it's not necessarily parallel. Yeah, I do understand that. I know that there's someone's gonna be out there when I be lazy about it one time, just saying, yeah, it's a bear flag. Someone's gonna be like, no, it's not. It's a brawny wedge. So fuck you, Krown. You don't know anything. It's like, all right, well, okay, fair enough. So if you were to break the bottom of this support right here of whatever creature pattern that you decide it is, well, the next big support is 6150 in my opinion. As long as 6150 support holds though, I don't really want to be thinking of further downside. Now, if 6150 were to break, then I do believe you'd see the measure move off this guy take place, which would be pointing you somewhere down around here, which we'll talk about. This is about as far into the long-term analysis that I'll go. Hey, stop that. Too many dots. Hate dots, man. Fuck dots. Of all colors and shapes and sizes. Yeah, I'd be pointing you all the way down here towards like, low 5,000s-ish area, which would make sense. You got a little bit of support down there, but we won't get into too much of that right here, right now. I do want to do the daily rounds. I do want to look at the accumulation distribution indicator. We did not take a look at that yesterday, so let's see how it's kind of snaking around right now. We got the daily over here, which was aggressively sloped to the downside, now flatlined. I don't necessarily consider this an upslope, but I consider this like a pause. What about the 2-day? We got the 2-day over here, which has lost its slope. Just the last kind of tick on that dildo, we were looking at a positive slope. Now it's completely lost its slope. And the 3-day over here, same sort of thing, losing its slope a little bit. But just like the daily, I don't, until you actually start sloping down, I don't care that much. It's not as big of a deal. Okay, so well, let's go check on. Well, the weekly we won't get one until tomorrow. But just a reminder that hey, it is kind of flat-ish, still slightly sloped to the downside. But again, more, I don't want to put too much weight on anything like that just yet. Weekly stochastics are hinting at a cross to the downside, and weekly stochastics will be getting another tick as of tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. So yeah. Okay, just get that off. Get that out of my sight. Fucking hate that one, man. Yes, okay, of course. I do want to talk about this as well. The weekly is very important right now because the yellow 21 exponential and the green 55 exponential are damn close to fucking kissing. They're damn close to tangling and putting it on and getting it on and making little baby exponentials that are beautiful as well. But I really want to see how this next day or so plays out, because as long as Bitcoin is below 7,100, the 55 basically, it will get that cross on the next go. It's incredibly unlikely that it gets inverted again. I just don't see it. They're too damn close. It's too damn close. And if we go to other exchanges, I think it's even more so. Yeah. Finex is like literally $50 out of all the spot exchanges. This is insane. But as you can see, it's still kind of interrelating to the exponentials and simple moving averages. Very similarly, this red guy is our 10 simple moving average, which is still curtailing price action. Again, very, 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 very concerning the way that I'm looking at it right here. As long as if you do close this next weekly dildo below it, it just doesn't look too damn healthy. And again, the 100 exponential would be kind of aligning with our bottom support if you were looking at it from a weekly dildo time frame around 5,900. Just always want to keep those bigger ones in mind. Going back down into the lower time frames right here, let's see if our indicators show up anything. I'm going to put back on the 200 simple instead of the 10, and let's get this guy on over here. Okay, so 4-hour stochastics crossed down even after that nice rally. What about the 8-hour? 8-hour losing momentum. What about the 6-hour? 6-hour crossed down. What about the 12-hour? 12-hour still crossed up and still gaining momentum to the upside, but daily is still crossed down. So they're all kind of smoothing out. I always want to make that analogy of like a rubber band, kind of like smoothing out and shaking out the price action over time as it kind of like reveals the overall direction, especially in a consolidationary fashion like this. This is very important, and the reason for that being is, I think that is actually I think it's more of like a coin flip to really be taking a trade in this range right here, right now. A lot of people have been asking me, like, do I have a real position? I don't. I don't. I've just been scalping. That's all I really care to do right here, right now. This thing, even though it is in a bearish formation, even though it's within a bearish formation, with a lot of bearish indicators on top, a lot of people are thinking the same thing. We have a lot of shorts on the table right now. We have almost 31,000 open shorts once again, which is a lot. That is a lot, especially versus 26,000 longs, which is kind of neutralish to me. Neither high nor low. But you could very easily have a fake out and be so fucking classic to just run up price action right above 6,800 for just a second and then dump it right back down, and then a very, 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 very aggressive and violent move to the downside. So again, I'm not really in a rush to have a position right now. I'm pretty much neutral. I actually have positions, but it's like hedged to neutral. Basically, I'm delta neutral is the saying if you're familiar with option Greeks. But yeah, if you were to break, essentially if you were to break above this upper resistance right here around 6,800, we'll call it. Yes, it's technically like 6,750 now. Funnily enough, I wouldn't see much stopping you from like 69, 7,000ish area, which would actually align if I were to extend this guy and make a horizontal right here. Yeah, right around here. It kind of align with this area right around here, 7,000 to 6,900ish range. But again, you still would be contending with the overall downtrend resistance line from this guy right here, the big bad descending triangle that everyone's scared of, which still is valid. It's still certainly very, very valid. Coming all the way back down, all the way down here with an apex beginning of December. So that's getting, it's getting fucking full, man. It's less than about 2 months now away from being completely full, and I believe it's very likely to choose a direction beforehand. If it does not choose a direction beforehand, then the scenario where Bitcoin just kind of goes sideways for a very long period of time, that becomes a little bit more of a reality, a little bit more, but still not my main interpretation. But it becomes the high probability. Okay, so yeah, okay, we talked about that. We talked about the potential trap over here, and I just can't highlight this enough. This is such a fucking classic move where you just throw it over really fucking quick and then bring it down. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm not saying even if you do get, I'm not even saying that we're gonna fucking get there. Bitcoin could very easily just roll over from here. I mean, this is, you can see that this pattern is mature. It's ready to go. It's like it's in high school and it's ready to go to college. It's saying, "Mom, fuck off. I'm 12 now. You can't tell me what to do." Lazy bitch. "Mom, pizza. Fucking protein, Mom." God damn it. Anyways, okay, so yeah, you see this very orderly drop off in volume, always a sign of consolidation, especially when you're angled like this. Let's see, what else can we find out in the magical charts? What else are other indicators saying to us? Daily RSI completely neutral, completely fucking neutral. I mean, it's like how much more neutral could you get? Literally in the neutral zone. And again, closing a couple of dildos above the yellow 20-minute exponential makes me think that, typically speaking, when I get a couple like that, I do say, oh, you're probably going to get a little bit of continuation. But just the fact that it's been kind of snaking around this, tightening up around it, this is like a great example of the rubber band effect as it kind of like, wraps around price action. Maybe a rubber band's not the best analogy. Maybe I don't even know what a rubber band is, but like it wraps around price action and then you get the real move. So yeah, let's go take a look at the Trollinger bands, because I think they might have some new to say. Perhaps we did get a new 2-day dildo yesterday night, taking off these guys right here so we can actually see. Okay, so the daily did the daily open and close? Yeah, so the daily did open and close a dildo above the medium band right here. It's still extremely tight. It's still extremely tight. But hey, that would be one in the one towards the bullish scenario right there. 2-day still closing dildos below. Yeah, yes. Did it close it below? No, it did not. Actually, 2-day did not close it below, but let's go look at like Stamp. Yeah, 2-day did close it below. Over here on the medium band. What about 3-day? And I would defer to Stamp and GDAX and BitMexico over here. Did BitMexico close it? Yeah, BitMexico closed it below as well. And the 3-day, sorry, getting sidetracked over there. The 3-day still. Well, the 3-day still going. We haven't got a new guy on that just yet. We will get one later tonight, so that'll be the next big piece of the puzzle. But really, the weekly is kind of the one that I got my eyes on for next. So yeah, again, just really, really tight. This is just telling us that this is consolidation area-ish action over here, not necessarily like not necessarily like a breakout move or breakdown move, but can be useful for short-term trading if you do want to kind of put your dick on the chopping block and and risk it all right now. Weekly over here, still using this guy as resistance. It looks like even on Finex at 6,800 is your medium band, which you have not opened and closed a weekly dildo above that guy for about 10 months now. So again, let's take this guy off. Let's put these exponentials back on. Let's go over and check out where the CMEs close. I'm always curious about that. So CMEs close way below 65.20 area. So you will, if price action does open up here, you will get a gap up open to open up the week later on Sunday. So when that sort of thing comes, a lot of the times you'll see price action kind of like come back down rapidly, fill the gap, and then probably bounce in this case if it's approaching it from the upside. So that that's always kind of an easier trade to make. Of course, it doesn't always fucking work. Nothing works forever always, but it's good enough. So if it were to come back and do that, I would probably actually buy that, just going off of past prior history. But again, doesn't mean it's always going to work. but you will have a pretty damn massive gap all the way down to like 65.20ish area, and we're currently about $50. Well, $50 high. That's not like crazy thing, but it's good enough to pay attention to. Let's go check out a GBTC over here. Where's GBTC? Where'd you go? There you are. GBTC actually closing the day down. Very interesting. So what I look at as potential leading indicator for Bitcoin itself, Bitcoin is not following. Although this thing does seem to trade well ahead of Bitcoin as well. It topped out much before the actual underlying asset. Well, about a week before the actual, or sorry, about 2 weeks before the underlying asset. In December. So funnily enough, it does play out moves a little bit in advance. So this could be what you're in for, but you do have a nice doji-ish dildo down here. I really don't like how you retrace basically the whole goddamn thing the next day, but you haven't taken out the low just yet. You also haven't traded above the high, so it's all low volume action the way that I look at it. So it's actually pretty much inconsequential, although you do seem to be respecting this kind of diagonal trend line right here. So as long as you're kind of respecting that, there might just be people buying based off of that because they think that other people are going to be buying based off of it, which is how a lot of technical analysis works. Just positive feedback loops, but the reaction is not strong, and I always want to remind everyone, or just remind them, or something that I like to repeat to myself, strong support only needs to be support once, and when you do get a strong support, you want to see it bounce up like relatively fast, like at least a good amount relatively fast. To kind of put the lows in, and then you probably have like the low volume, low hang for a while, but that doesn't always need to happen either. But just wanted to quickly point that out. Are you getting any sort of bullish divergence down here yet? Not quite. A little bit, but not quite. I wouldn't really say so. People are calling this bullish divergence between this point and this point. You can't do that. You can't do that. No, sorry. It's too far away. They're not related. It's a fucking 14 period on the RSI, for fuck's sake. Okay, over here to Mr. XRP. How's Mr. XRP doing? Still consolidating, but looks like it does want to come down a little bit lower, and formally tested this horizontal slash 21 exponential, that yellow line right there at around 49 cents. You did have some heavy bearish divergence right here and right here, but that's not, until you actually start breaking this area right here, 48 cents, we'll call it, 48.5 cents. I don't want to like even really think too bearishly about this. And even then, you still got this big guy right here, right around about 37 cents. As long as you're above there, the bottom, the low could, you can always make an argument that this low is still in. But hey, it does look like it wants to come down a little bit over here. By the same token, you got big resistance right here at about 58 cents. So as long as you're below there, not really too much to look at. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? Mr. Buterol. Get over here, Mr. Buterol. It's your turn now. No, please. Sorry, Reddit. But you're still, if you are looking at this as a symmetrical triangle, you are still within the symmetrical triangle. Gave it a try in the early morning hours, but rejected. The resistance officially coming in around $229.50. So you really need to see some high level dildos closing above there, and even then you still will have resistance along the way. You're gonna still have to contend with this guy right here. Right around, it also lines up with that 200 exponential. I like that, 236.25. And if you do get a full on breakout, I'd be looking somewhere right around here. By the same token, we got this guy right here as support. It looks like that's your big support around 195. As long as Mr. Buterol is above 195 on the weekly and closing dildos above 195, I think it's generally, you can always make the argument that the bottom is in, that the low is in. But the second that you start closing weeklies below there, you got a big fucking problem. Okay, so if this were a symmetrical triangle, which it looks like one, it does have the right volume characteristics of one. Then we can make a measure move off of it, and let's see if that lines up with anything. And come on, baby. So if you were to break out and confirm above this resistance right here at around 229.5, well, look at that. Oh my God. Sometimes technical analysis, it actually fucking works. Pointing you all the way up here to like 268, 269. I like that for good confluence. If you were to break to the downside, well, technical analysis doesn't work. It doesn't line up with anything. Well, maybe. Well, you do have a little bit down here, but it would be putting you past the critical the critical support right here at around 195. So that's probably the bigger news of the day. by the same token, we can actually redraw this whole thing. So this is very valid right here. This is 100% valid what we just talked about. I'd be looking at that. I don't know if it's my first interpretation or not. I would say that you still do, you can still make the argument that this is just a major bear flag right here. It's just a major fucking bear flag. This does work. It is valid. Your supports and resistances would actually be the same though. You still got this horizontal right here. Nothing changes with that. You still got this support that we're currently basing on right now, and then a little bit lower, and then the critical one right here at around 195. I mean, these are the big levels. The big levels don't really change. When you get, snaky price action like this, it creates a lot of supports and resistances just by the nature of it. I know a lot of people are looking at this as a head and shoulders. I'm not sure if I subscribe to that belief. I want to see something a little bit more obvious and not slanted. It could work, but it's not my first interpretation. But again, it doesn't matter what you call it. It just matters how it reacts around support and resistances. That's all I care about. You can call any fucking pattern and imply any sort of move with it. But at the end of the day, I've seen every fucking pattern break out every goddamn which way. It doesn't matter in my opinion. So yeah, all right. So back on over here to Bitcoin. We'll close it out with Bitcoin. I want to be respectful of your time and finish this one up. So again, just to wrap it up, currently, literally, even with the move last night, even with this, which was another low volume, just kind of pump up lower than the last one. You have not broken a major resistance. You have not broken a major support. I mean, not even a major resistance or major support. These are like the intermediary level. It's literally in the middle of this fucking zone right here. This is just this is gambling right here if you're taking a directional position. And I know that might not find some people too brightly, but I apologize for that. I feel like it would be gambling, at least in my opinion. I could say in my opinion it would be gambling to me. I'd rather just go to the casino. If you break above 65.50, then you got a nice trade around 67.50. That's also the next big resistance for this smaller descending triangle. If you can break above there, then I really don't see much stopping you from like this 7,000-ish range, give or take a few bucks. By the same token, you got this guy right here, a support 65.50. Nothing's changed there. If you break that, you got 64.50 as your next support. If you break that, you got like 63, 69, but it's also rising over time to like 6,400. Depends where you kind of approach it upon. If you were to break that, then you still got to deal with 61.50, but you would start to think, okay, we have a measured move. Now we have a bearish pattern breaking to the downside. All right, let's see where this one ends up. So again, for right here, right now, that's really all I have to say. Bitcoin, even with doing something, does nothing. Even by doing something, it does nothing. So again, guys, I hope this one finds you well. I'll be posting a few more videos a little bit later today, and I hope to see you guys soon. Take care.